United States was very, very much the ringleader of leading the charge on blowing up those oil lines. And the one thing that is reported now, which just blows my mind, the German people who are benefiting from this, they went along with it. Yeah. It's sort of crazy, but they don't follow this by private property and free markets and things like that. It's always political and who has the military power and who can put on sanctions and a lot of nonsense. So we still have a little job at educating people on how freedom really works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's put on that first clip because this is Hersch's piece. He just took out a Substack. Now, Substack is perfect for someone like Seymour Hersh because he's always been independent-minded, and this is his opportunity to start a new career. It's late in his career, but he's starting a new career. It's an unbelievable blockbuster. The article is titled "How America Took Out the Nord Stream Pipeline." He talks about in great detail in this article about how it was done. It was under the cover of Vault Ops 22, which was a military exercise in the Baltic Sea in June. And as he details in his piece, Navy divers dove down to the pipelines. They attached some C4 onto the pipelines that could be remotely detonated at the appropriate time. And the administration did their back and forth deciding when they should blow it up, and they finally blew it up, as we know, in September 22nd. And you're right. At the time we were saying, why would Russia blow up its own pipeline? That doesn't make sense. And we called, oh, you're just apologists for Putin. Just using logic. So it's incredible. Biden did it, and people would say, well, this is impossible. It's so shocking that the U.S. would do such a thing. Well, this is the exact team that was behind the Maidan and the coup in the first place. It was Victoria Nuland, it was Tony Blinken, it was Jake Sullivan, and the ringleader was Joe Biden, whose son, of course, was making a lot of money out of Ukraine after they overthrew the government. So this is the same team that gave us Maidan, and now they gave us a blown-up pipeline, according to Seymour Hersh. It's absolutely astonishing, the criminality, if what he reports is true.
The whole problem is there'll still be Russia bashing, and they take a rest for that, and they get to go back, which they're currently doing, with China. They're not concentrating on what we concentrate on, and that is an emphasis on personal liberty and free markets and sound money, which we think would create a much better world. But this is very big news, and I think the administration had to say, oh, this couldn't possibly be true. These are all just misinformation, and therefore you don't have to believe this stuff. And then the ones who are determined to want to believe that stuff, just like they were always wanting to believe the garbage they were passing about COVID. Oh yeah, these guys that are stirring up trouble, we have to take care of this. So to me, it's just a sad state of affairs. It's so unnecessary, and it's always the bottom line for me is, okay, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if we had a really justifiable oil line or pipes between a couple countries, and we built it, and we had a contract, and it was open, and we were driving it. Then some other enemy, they wanted to punish us, and then it blew it up. Well, we weren't on their property because we were dealing with a couple other countries. So this pipeline wasn't in Russia, so they say, oh, it wasn't on Russian territory. You can't escalate the war. But let me tell you, this is going to escalate the war. I mean, I think that if my instinct is to get really upset with people who did this, how do you think the Russians are feeling right now? Because they've really been punished unnecessarily, and now they're getting more support from some people say, oh, Russians are being like this, Russians are being like this. But Hersh is we're benefiting from Hersh because of his great credibility.
Yeah, the thing, look how America freaked out over a Chinese weather balloon over the country. We basically were ready to declare war on China. Imagine if the Russians had actually blown up one of our pipelines. It would have been war. And it's just incredible that the Russians have shown so much restraint. Let's go into the next clip because this shows a little bit more about how they did it. This is from Hersh's piece. December of 21, 2 months before the Russian tanks pulled into Ukraine, Jake Sullivan, that's the national security advisor of the president, was deeply involved in the Maidan coup. He convened a meeting of newly formed task force, men and women from the Joint Chiefs, the CIA, and State and Treasury, and asked for recommendations about how to respond to Putin's impending invasion. Go to the next one. This is also from the article. What became clear to participants, according to the source with direct knowledge of the process, is that Sullivan intended for the group to come up with a plan for the destruction of 2 Nord Stream pipelines, and that he was delivering on the desires of the president. So this team, CIA, Jake Sullivan, Victoria Nuland, Blinken, they're the ones that cooked this up. They're the ones that carried it out. And the thing is, it's not so surprising that they did it because they basically admitted it. Remember, just like in the phone call with Victoria Nuland in 2014, where she's talking about how they're going to overthrow the government, who's going to get in power next. Victoria Nuland, one thing, she's very upfront and very frank. In fact, we have 2 video clips of her. We can play that first one. Here she is warning that the U.S. will stop that pipeline. I want to put in your earpiece, Dr. Paul, and listen to this first clip of Victoria Nuland. This is before the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. Here she's threatening.
With regard to Nord Stream 2, we continue to have very strong and clear conversations with our German allies, and I want to be clear with you today. If Russia invades Ukraine, one layer of Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Now, I apologize for the low volume on this, but listen to the next one. Well, she basically threatened right there before the thing was blown up. And let's listen to what she had to say after it was blown up. She's thrilled about it. She basically admits it. Here she is back in January.
Senator Cruz, like you, I am, and I think the administration is very gratified to know that Nord Stream 2 is now, as you like to say, a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea. Senator Cruz,
They're thrilled about it. They're thrilled that they did it. They openly admit it, and we're supposed to be shocked. So in a way, we owe Hersh a great debt of gratitude for putting it all together, telling us how it happened. But it's not like it was a huge surprise.
It's such a mixed deal. Nuclear power, nuclear energy, it could be a real blessing to the whole universe if they would use it for peaceful purposes, and a lot of it is. And it's probably not nearly as dangerous as they claim, unless some warmongers get hold of it and use it as threat, because I'm going to blow up the world if you don't obey what we do. And so it's this fight in between. And I was looking at that, and they described, I guess it was Hersh's article, that described in detail how they went down there and put those bombs in there and how they were set off. And I thought, that takes skill.
Yeah.
All this skill is being used to destroy something and move us further closer to a war with Russia. Really, that's what it does. And so often things in life are that way. The good and the bad, you can use something for good, but also the opposite. Unfortunately, this is technology that is pretty amazing to me on what they can do under the sea. And building the pipeline is pretty astounding as well.
Yeah.
But it would have been a perfect example. But from the very beginning, the NATO forces, never had any intention on following through on their promises and their inclination that for long-term peace, it should not look like the Europeans are going to put military personnel and troops and weapons on the Russian border. Well, it seems like they violated that so-called promise.
Yeah, of course. And here are some clips that I meant to put up, and I didn't, so I'm just going to read them. And this is from Hersh's piece. He puts it in his own article. Asked for comment, Adrienne Watson, a White House spokesperson, said in an email, quote, "This is a false and a complete fiction." Tammy Thorpe, spokesperson for the CIA, wrote, quote, "This claim is completely and utterly false." So that's the White House's reaction.
Yeah.
Now here's Hersh's own reasons for opening his Substack, because this is what they said before. "I've been told my stories were wrong, invented, outrageous for as long as I can remember, but I've never stopped. In 2004, after I published the first stories about the torture of Iraqi prisoners at Abu Ghraib, the Pentagon spokesman responded by calling my journalism, quote, a tapestry of nonsense. They said I was the guy who threw a lot of crap against the wall and expect someone to peel off what's real." So this is what they said back when he exposed Abu Ghraib. I'm sure they said the same thing when he exposed the massacre at my leg. The same thing. He said he couldn't even get it published. So over and over, if this was just some guy writing on a blog, it would be different. But this is a guy with a reputation for 50 or so years of getting the hard stories right, and it gives a huge amount of weight to what he's written. But I did a little search to see what the mainstream media was doing, Dr. Paul. This is how Reuters explained Seymour Hersh, legendary Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. This is how they wrote it. White House says blog post on Nord Stream explosion utterly false. It's a blog post. It's just a blog post.
They examined it all and found out everything was okay.
But here's a legendary journalist, and they just call him a blogger. They don't even name his name in the headline. So it just goes to show the reaction.
Well, I guess we haven't heard what are the potential retaliations by Russia, but they aren't going to forget about this.
Yeah.
Of course, the American people probably aren't even hardly aware of it, and they're going to believe this stuff. But Hersh is so powerful as a journalist.
Yeah.
I mean, he must, on a personal level, be awfully annoyed with where journalism is going, where they're teaching you.
Yeah.
We talked about it. That just blows my mind. They're teaching the students in journalism that objective reporting is detrimental to the people and to the justice system, social justice. You can't have social justice, which is total communism, if you do that. So it is a real pity. And but I'm glad he's active.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is how the Germans are cowering over this. I mean, they must have known early on. Here they are, freezing all winter. Their energy bills have God knows what, quadrupled, quintupled, what have you. They're all going broke, and it's their own closest ally who blew up their pipeline that was giving them free natural gas, heating their homes, running German industry, which was the pride of Europe. It's gone. It's devastated. They're becoming a third world country, and Olaf Scholz is just sitting around, like this. I never thought I would see this in Germany.
Yeah, and their argument is that we're doing so much help Ukraine. Instead of we're going to help Ukraine and to get these Russians out of here because they might invade us someday and then use that scare tactic. But I think they're a misinterpretation, and right now there's a step backwards. There's just no way that this is a positive step for what's going on. Because even when we talked about this a couple times already, and that is when there are offers with the two sides, let's have a talk.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about how we can stop the war. And of course, we're getting more people that have not been in that tone and saying, we can't win this.
Yeah.
One of these days we're going to have to talk. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. I mean, it is crazy. It's astonishing. It'll be interesting to see if the Germans are able to do anything. My guess is that they're not. And I also believe that the mainstream media, of course, are going to do their very best to bury this story. And they're pretty good at burying stories. So we'll see what happens. But the next thing we want to talk about, so I was on Zero Hedge, and it kind of goes along with the first one in a way. And as if anyone didn't know this, let me put this next one up. The Ukraine war has John McCain's legacy. It's an interesting post because it points out how involved the late senator from Arizona, the late warmongering senator from Arizona was involved from the beginning. Put on this next one. This is from the article. This is a tweet that John McCain put out just before the Maidan coup. He said, "It's an inspiring opportunity to speak to the Ukrainian people today at Maidan. America stands with you." He was literally in the middle of the coup in Ukraine, encouraging the people to overthrow a duly, democratically elected government. This is his legacy.
Yeah, even back then, before 2014, he had a street named after John McCain. And that was in 2013. He was very much involved leading up to it. So, once they get in this attitude that solutions come from military power and strength, they are authoritarians, and that's their weapon. It's not reason and offer peace and diplomacy and trade with people and be honest with each other. They have nothing. In fact, they have to undermine that because they don't want the truth out, and they have to accused them of lying. It's immediately what happened. You know, the Russians are lying, the Russians are lying. This sort of thing. They have to blame somebody else. But that's why we admire somebody like Hershey, because he in a scientific way, wants to know the truth. As how many good scientists there were enough with COVID that, you know, on the short run lost a lot, but on the long run they're proved to be right on their arguments.
Exactly. Well, this next clip is from the article, and we've seen it before, but this is from 2016. This is John McCain and Lindsey Graham in Ukraine, urging the Ukrainian government to go to war against Russia and promising the U.S. would back it up if it goes to war against Russia. Now, people will say the Russian attack was absolutely unprovoked, unbelievable. Well, that is not true. And here's one of many, many exhibits that this was all very well planned by McCain, Graham, Blinken, Newland, and all the neocons. Just listen to the first minute of Lindsey Graham and John McCain urging Ukraine to go to war against Russia.
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
Рік 2017 рік буде ріком нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтона, де будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Час визнати, щоб вони заплатили важчу ціну.
I believe you will win. I am convinced you will win, and we will do everything we can to provide you with what you need to win.
Я вірю в те, що ви виграєте, переможете. Я переконаний в тому, що ви переможете.
2017 is going to be the year of offense. We were told this one from defense. So we're working on defense. This is going to be the year of offense. We're going to give you everything you need to take on Russia. This is John McCain, legacy. Lindsey Graham is still there with the same thing.
You know, this situation, if you go back 10, 15 years ago, and it was a problem spot. But if the leaders of our country would have understood and had a desire for neutrality, this could have been a perfect time to do it. But no, it was domination. You know, we were in Syria, we had to get their oil, and the whole works. It's never neutral. But not only is it not neutral, we become the instigators.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't come out here. Here we have senators. They're smart U.S. senators. They're powerful people, and they have another plan. It's such a shame that the thrust, the intent of the founders, how we should avoid this. Oh no, we're not really at war. We just fight wars, and we spend billions and billions of dollars promoting war. And yet they say, oh no, it's not necessary to declare a war. And the Congress seems to always go along with it until they get really into trouble, like you're getting right now. That's why we delight in the fact that some of the Republicans, at least now, are saying, you know, and sometimes I question their motivation, but some of them now are saying, why are we sending some money over there? And that's starting to reflect the fact of the reality of the bankruptcy. How can we keep doing this and adding up to the troubles and looking at the troubles here at home? And I think they're only starting. Now, you want to talk about lying? I think it's here at home. There's never any inflation, and there's never a recession going on, so it's always okay. And yet, fortunate, people do wake up, and when they do some honest polling, they find out that the American people aren't quite with some of that talk that you hear from the left.
Yeah, that's what you say. The people really are the leading edge of opinion. The politicians follow, and that's I think what we're seeing. Well, one member who's not going along with this, who's swimming against the tide, if we put this up, this next one is Matt Gaetz. Now he's a mixed bag on many things, but on this he's been very good. This is from Zero Hedge again. Matt Gaetz steps out of line on Ukraine. Representative Matt Gaetz earlier this week took an extremely unpopular position within the D.C. swamp, saying just before President Biden's Tuesday night State of the Union, how much more for Ukraine? Is there any limit? And let's do the next one because this is a little bit more of his statement. It's pretty good stuff. He went off on a House floor speech Monday. How much more for Ukraine? Is there any limit? Which $1 billion really kicks in the door? Which red line he set will we not later cross? And then he said, tomorrow President Biden will tell us how much more we must do for Ukraine. Look around your house. How much stuff is made in Ukraine, or even Russia, for that matter? So why Ukraine, a country that just rounded up dozens of senior leaders in its government over overt corruption? Perhaps the answer is as simple as Hunter Biden life motto: the grifters gotta grift.
Yeah, that is the problem that we have. And it's a good speech. It's very helpful. It's factual in this sense. But then I say, well, boy, I was more excited when I started reading it. And then when I further looked into it, it's not part of the principle that I am aiming for and promoting. That is of non-intervention in a consistent manner. So I think, I'm pretty sure I'm safe to say that he's not treating China the same way, because some of these people that want to back off, you know, say, well, China's different. And here right now we have, guess who's going to China, to Taiwan, you know, the speakers go, and McCarthy's planning on going, but McCall's planning on going, and and yet at the same time, you know, at the highest level of trade right now is still going on with China. Oh, yeah, and the hawks want to blame China, you know, for all this trading and selling our stuff. Well, we buy it voluntarily. They have dollars. They earn the dollars by, you know, selling stuff, and so it's all their fault. But and they're not forcing us to buy it. It's all blame just China, and we have to crack down on the way I think subconsciously, maybe more consciously, the Chinese, who are these terrible communists, are probably using a few principles of the market, and they're outdoing us.
Yeah.
You know, because look at all the money they spend in Africa, and but they're investing their money. We're in more countries than they are, but it's always the cost. We go over with our troops, not with people trying to sell some goods and services that we're producing in this country. We're real good at printing money. Yeah. So we'll send it over there. We'll buy that stuff, and that'll prop them up, and let them come back and buy it. Eventually, we'll end, and I think that's what we're witnessing now. It's cracking.
Well, unfortunately, the only goods we produce in the U.S. are military weapons. That's it. There's nothing else that we do. Yeah, the saber rattling, as you point out, for China is absurd. You look at our military, we have given literally everything to Ukraine. We don't even have a bullet left. If we wanted to, you guys think that they're going to take on China and Russia at the same time? I don't know what they're smoking up there in Washington, but there must be something very strong. I'm just going to close out from my perspective by thanking everyone for watching the show. Thanks for being patient when we sometimes have to travel out of town. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you subscribing to our channel, hitting like, spreading it around. We do our best to bring you the truth, the unvarnished truth, and the only way that it can get around is with the help of all of you who are watching the show. So thanks again for watching, Dr. Paul.
Very good. I want to close by making a couple points about the environmental movement. Dealing with Bill Gates and John Kerry, because they want to make sure we have an Earth in a couple years from now, and the way it's going is not doing well. Sometimes they claim people flying jet airplanes and pollute the air and they're ruining the country. The reporters are really pretty sharp. They fly around in a jet airplane all the time. Unfortunately, you're polluting more than any other person doing it. Oh, but they both had a very similar answer. And it's sort of like, but we're different. What we're doing is saving the Earth, so therefore we can justify this. And they use the same tune. We're different, and therefore we must use this. And it sort of goes along with this. We gotta, but the people who have to follow the rules are suffering. They lose jobs, and inflation comes along. It's sort of like, yeah, and they're blasé about this. They say, well, they should do this. So it's sort of like you have to destroy the village to save the village. The poor people, they have to do this to save the village, and these guys are just. It's just this arrogance is so bad. You know, Pelosi was pretty good at this. She started this thing about running off to Taiwan to show how we really care and go and do some more China bashing.
What was the thing that Kerry said? Because it was really amazing.
Yeah, John Kerry probably called it only choice for somebody like me. And I think Kerry and Gates use the same tone. They're special. Yeah. And they did it. You know, well, they're sitting right there. Only choice for somebody like me. Oh, it's so nice to have people like that taking care of us. And that's wonderful. And they have to live in poverty because they have to prove that they're honest and true. But that's not the way it is. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to the Liberty Report. Please come back soon.
Elon Musk has done to restore free speech. Right now on Twitter, hashtag #ClimateScam is trending at the top, and a number of my tweets are trending near the top of that hashtag. But when it comes to criticism, nobody gets a free pass, and that includes Elon Musk. At the end of January, somebody tweeted, in 2022, wind and solar together generated more electricity in Europe than coal and gas. And Elon Musk responded, wind and solar combined with batteries will solve sustainable energy for our Earth. Elon Musk is in the battery manufacturing and selling business, and on March 1st, he's going to unveil his plan to sell lots more batteries. Elon appears to be happy about the energy situation in Europe, but a lot of people in Europe aren't happy about the sky-high energy prices, and many of them are now in fuel poverty. The reality is that around the world in the year 2021, coal-fired electricity grew faster than wind and solar combined. Wind and solar provide less than 4% of global energy usage, and they're making almost no progress. One of the primary reasons for this is that wind and solar are inherently unreliable. 5 years ago, Britain went for more than 9 days without any wind power, and that's not actually all that unusual. Of course, Elon Musk will argue that batteries will solve the problem of wind and solar being unreliable. But as Alex Epstein pointed out, storing just 3 days of global energy would cost $590 trillion at Elon Musk's current prices. That would be a good deal for Elon, but not so good for the rest of the world. There's a lot of other problems with wind and solar, like the fact that wind turbines are collapsing. Another problem is that they're extremely expensive and inefficient. A few days ago, Siemens reported that the green energy company had lost almost $1 billion in 3 months. Another problem is that green energy is an environmental disaster. In the middle of the 19th century, oil companies saved the whales by ending the practice of burning whale oil. But now offshore wind farms may be decimating whale populations. A lot of the publicity about a climate emergency comes from this man, Professor Michael E. Mann of the University of Pennsylvania. He says that the Republican Party has to be destroyed for the United States to continue to exist. His motivation is blatantly political and financial, and mainstream media seems to be okay with that. He also likes to attack people on Twitter instead of debating them. In a debate, Jordan Peterson would undoubtedly crush him. The New York Times has become one of my favorite sources of climate comedy. They say that this guy in Hawaii is battling snowstorms and lava with his balloon in order to save the planet from global warming. Snowstorms in Hawaii don't sound too much like a global warming emergency. Another good source of climate comedy is the Los Angeles Times. They say that the high cost of natural gas is due to the instability of fossil fuels. A more plausible explanation is that the Biden administration has been shutting down the availability of fossil fuels. On his first day in office, Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. And the Obama-Biden administration has been delaying that pipeline for 12 years. Seymour Hersh recently wrote that the Biden administration sabotaged the Russian-German Nord Stream gas pipeline. It appears that sabotaging pipelines is a favorite pastime of Joe Biden and his administration. In 2014, Hillary Clinton said that the effort to ban fracking and ban pipelines was being funded by Russia. office, Joe Biden shut down a U.S.-Canadian pipeline. But selling off the country is nothing new for the Biden family. Of course, Elon Musk wants to sell more batteries, but it's pretty likely there will be a shortage of batteries even for electric vehicles, much less powering the entire world. We can't blame Elon Musk for wanting to sell batteries, but the only thing it's going to solve is increased profits for himself. Tony's been pulling back the curtain on the green energy climate scam for the past 15 years. You can visit him, Kyrie Caesar, Toki Hoopla, and the 4 new puppies on the web at RealPlanetScience.com.